Welcome. Thank you all so much for being with us virtually today. We are so excited to share the results today with you of our external evaluation of the Orange County Veterans Initiative, along with some firsthand success stories from the veterans that have benefited from the initiative and our nonprofit service providers. So to get started, we'd love to know who's with us today. We'd like for you to use the Zoom chat feature to introduce yourself, your affiliation with the Veterans Initiative, and how you're connected to a veteran. So I'm going to give it a minute. Love to see who's here with us today. I can see we have our friends here from Donahue Schreiber,
There you go.
Pat Donahue, Larry Casey. I see Bob Greenberg. We're so glad to have you here today. A lot of our nonprofit partners. Thanks for being here. Well, we have a really powerful program planned for you today. And to officially kick it off, I'd like to introduce Kathleen Otero, our Vice President of Donor Relations and Programs here at the Foundation. She's going to share a bit of background on the history and the inspiration for this initiative.
Great, thanks, Carol. It's great to be here, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kathleen Otero, and I'm honored to share with you the development of the Orange County Veterans Initiative. This initiative began in 2011 when the Orange County Community Foundation and several of our donors started hearing from our community that veterans were not being provided with adequate support upon returning home. OCCF reached out to veterans serving organizations to find out what they were seeing and experiencing. And based on that initial outreach, OCCF created a donor giving circle in 2012 to improve those supports and services provided to veterans. But we knew we needed to learn more about the challenges facing veterans and decided to commission a study in partnership with the University of Southern California. This study, the State of the American Veteran, the Orange County Veteran Study, found the highest needs were in the areas of transitioning to civilian life, education, employment, and physical and behavioral health. We also found that veterans did not know where to go in Orange County to get the services they needed. They had difficulty developing trusting relationships with service providers and were not connecting early and proactively to the services they and their families needed. Veterans were also having difficulty obtaining employment in career-oriented opportunities and positions. In response to the findings of the study, we officially launched the Orange County Veterans Initiative to align donors, businesses, and community leaders to focus on 3 critical areas of need identified in the report: transitioning to civilian life, employment readiness and job skills, and health with an emphasis on mental health needs. In 2016, we were delighted to partner with the Orange County real estate industry, led by Pat Donahue and Larry Casey at Donahue Schreiber. Beyond being a pivotal funding partner, they have been true thought partners and have inspired new ways for providing support to veterans and their families. We're thrilled to have Pat and Larry here to share a bit of their involvement and the progress we've seen together. Let's hear from Pat and Larry now.
Thanks to all the good folks at Orange County Community Foundation. We're thrilled to be with you today. I'm Pat Donahue, retiring chairman and CEO of Donahue Schreiber Real Estate Group. And I'm here today with my good friend and longtime business associate, our president, Larry Casey.
Hi, I'm Larry Casey, retiring president and chief operating officer of Donahue Schreiber. And I'm thrilled to join Pat today, along with our other friends at the Orange County Community Foundation, who we've been working with since 2016.
We got involved in the Orange County Veterans Initiative, as Larry said, in 2016. They came to us and asked our opinion on a study that they had done. And we got very passionate about our ability to maybe help and improve the veterans experience here in Orange County. And we came up with the idea of a luncheon, and we mobilized the real estate community and many of our friends and associates. And we put on a luncheon for the last 4 years. And all those proceeds have gone to the Orange County Veterans Initiative. And we have raised over $2.5 million from those luncheons. When we got involved with the Orange County Veterans Initiative, we felt that there were 3 pillars most important to the veterans experience in Orange County. And those were health, education, and employment. I'm going to turn it over to Larry to talk to you a little bit about the inroads we've made on the education side of this endeavor.
When we began our involvement with the Orange County Veterans Initiative, we were told that one of the problems in helping our veterans is that they are reluctant to self-identify. So it was Pat's idea to get some of the local colleges and universities together and some of the veteran students, and remember it in our conference room at Donahue Schreiber, and to talk to them about what their needs were, rather than us trying to dictate what we thought their needs were. Pat said, let's ask them. One of them was emergency grants. So veterans can get themselves in a pickle if a car breaks down or a medical emergency and financial resources get strained. We were advised, Terrence Nelson made a passionate plea at this meeting that, hey, we need emergency funds. So, okay, emergency grants. That was one of the first things we did with the colleges and universities. And then Cal State Fullerton said, well, you know, the veterans sometimes run out of benefits before they can graduate from a 4-year university. And we need a gap scholarship to help them. Can you provide us with some funds to fill that gap and get them to graduation? That was a good idea. Let's do that. And then Nancy Montgomery over at Irvine Valley College said, you know, a lot of the challenges that my students are facing are mental health challenges. And I think if I had a mental health provider here at the resource center on campus, I could really help make a difference for our veterans. Okay, that sounded like a good idea. Let's do that. Another one of the education-focused veterans organizations that approached us for funding was the Warrior Scholar Project, which is a boot camp for veterans who attend university level courses on campus in order to get a feel for what it's like in that environment. And they attend universities such as UCI, USC, Notre Dame, the Ivy Leagues like Harvard and Yale. And they are immersed in the college experience to show them what it's like, number one, and also to develop in them the confidence that they can succeed in that environment. Pat, I'm going to turn it over to you on the other collaborative efforts that we've been able to achieve with the funds from the Orange County Real Estate Luncheon, and also about what's happening over at the Goodwill Tierney Center.
Thanks, Larry. As you can see, we've made a great amount of progress with regards to the veterans that are involved in the various academic institutions here in Orange County. And one of the things that came out of the initial study was that there was no central hub for our Orange County veterans. There's an LA Veterans Hospital, there's a San Diego Veterans Hospital, there's even one in Long Beach, but there's nothing in Orange County. And through a collaboration with the Goodwill and their existing Tierney Center, which was for veterans, we got involved and started to build the amount of service providers to our veterans right here in Orange County in one place. And we're thrilled to announce that this year, if we can get this COVID behind us, we're going to open an expansion to the Tierney Center, which will be a 10,000 square foot single purpose facility to where a number of the service providers for our veterans in Orange County will be able to come into this area rent-free and provide a one-stop shop for our veterans. And this was really the main fundamental goal that came out of the study. It's taken us 5 years, but we're on the verge of getting ready to open it. I think our efforts here with the Orange County Community Foundation and this initiative and our real estate luncheon has been a tremendous success. And we're very proud of that. And we're pushing to the finish and hope to get that open, like I said, by the end of the year. So I want to thank all of our sponsors and all those that have attended the Orange County Real Estate Luncheon. Look forward to this year's luncheon as well. I want to thank Larry Casey for all of his good work in this and all of our volunteers at Donahue Schreiber that have helped us in this endeavor. We got a lot of work to do, but we're thrilled at the progress so far, and here's to finishing the job. So I'm going to kick it back over to Orange County Community Foundation.
Thanks, Pat and Larry. As Pat said, we have made a lot of progress in the last 5 years. And to share that progress in a little bit more detail from the results of the evaluation, I am thrilled to introduce Taylor Anderson from our evaluation partner, Harder & Company. Taylor?
Thank you, Carol, and good afternoon, everyone. It's so great to be here with you. My name is Taylor Anderson, and I am a research associate with Harder & Company Community Research. And as Carol mentioned, we have the pleasure of partnering with the Community Foundation and all of the cohort members to carry out the 5-year OCVI evaluation over about the past year and a half. So when we embarked on this evaluation, we had two main goals. The first being to understand the impact that the initiative has had on the veteran landscape in Orange County over the last 5 years. We were also curious in looking at how the initiative has specifically impacted veterans' transition to civilian life, education, job skills, and employment readiness for civilian careers, as well as physical and behavioral health. To ensure that the evaluation was informed by a variety of perspectives and viewpoints, and that we were really capturing the whole story of the initiative, we carried out 5 different data collection activities over the past year or so. We first reviewed existing data that really has ground the evaluation. We also spoke with funders to gather their perspectives on the initiative's success over the last 5 years. We distributed an OCVI cohort member survey to understand collaboration between organizations and engage how collaboration may have changed over the years. We conducted focus groups with veterans and military-connected family members where we heard such powerful stories about the impact that the initiative has had. And we hosted a reflection session with cohort members to share some of the preliminary findings of the evaluation and gather their insights on the initiative's effectiveness. And across each of these activities, we were asking 4 key questions. The first being, what was the overall impact of OCVI on veterans and military-connected families in Orange County over the past 5 years? We asked, do veterans know where to go in Orange County to get the services they need? How effective were the services, and how did services improve outcomes for veterans and military-connected family members? And lastly, what was the impact of OCVI at both the community and program levels in each of the focus areas? So again, thinking back to what we heard 5 years ago in the original study, we were really curious in knowing, like, how has the initiative pushed the needle and made progress in each of the areas that we found needed improvement 5 years ago. Overall, we found that the initiative has seen success and progress in so many different places. If we think of the initiative's accomplishments from a chronological perspective, we see that in 2016, the initiative supported collaboration among organizations and really increased access to needed supports through peer navigators and case management teams. In 2017, the initiative continued to expand collaboration and also partnered with local colleges to provide support to student veterans, which we heard has been so instrumental in meeting veterans where they're at. During this time, the Community Foundation also facilitated various processes to develop logic models and develop some common goals for the cohort partners to strive toward. By 2018, the initiative improved their collaborative referral system and established the co-location of agencies at the Goodwill of Orange County's Tyranny Center. this co-location of services ultimately provides veterans and their families with that one-stop shop for comprehensive resources and supports, which again, we heard has been so helpful and so important for many veterans and their families. Lastly, in 2019, the Hub formalized their procedures as they proved to be a huge asset in holistically addressing the complex needs of veterans and their families. In 2019, more money was also allocated to student veteran emergency funding to increase access to housing resources, food, and scholarships. So as you can see, the initiative has seen so much success and so much progress in terms of really strengthening collaboration and building a system of support for Orange County veterans and families. But if we take a step back and we look at the sheer reach of the initiative, we see that the initiative has reached nearly 30,000 individuals and families, which is a huge accomplishment in and of itself. Of these, over 5,500 individuals received case management support. About 9,000 individuals received assessment and service referrals through 2110C. About 600 people were placed in full-time employment, and nearly 9,000 individuals were served through peer mentorship. So again, so much success and so much to celebrate in terms of accomplishments over the past 5 years. And I'll be available to take any questions at the end of the program, but now I'm excited to introduce Austin Muckenthaler, OCCF Donor Relations and Program Officer, and he's going to share some more data and firsthand stories to guide you through findings in 3 key areas from the report, those being collaboration and partnerships, education, and peer mentorship. So over to you, Austin.
Thank you, Taylor. Hi, everyone. My name is Austin Muckenthaler. Many of you know me, and alongside Carol and Kathleen, I've had the pleasure of serving OCVI for the past several years. As the report confirmed, since the founding of the initiative, there has been an increase in the level of trust and collaboration between the cohort members. They are now sharing information, they have defined roles, they frequently communicate, and they engage in shared decision-making. All of this helps to serve the individual needs of each and every veteran. Now we'll hear from a few partners located at the Goodwill of Orange County's Tierney Center for Veteran Services, who embody this value of working together to serve the veteran in any way they may need. Team, take it away.
Thank you. I'm Jade Smith, and I currently serve as a Veterans Outreach Supervisor here at the Tierney Center for Veteran Services, Goodwill of Orange County. I'm also the granddaughter of a Marine Corps veteran. Here at the Tierney Center for Veteran Services, we provide an array of services to not only the veterans, but also their family members. Michelle?
I'm Michelle Mai. I'm the Veteran Intake Coordinator here at 211 Orange County. I come from a military family who served in the U.S. Marine Corps and U.S. Navy. Here at the Tierney Center for Veteran Services, 211 Orange County provides the initial intake and assessment with information and resources, then providing a warm handoff to a peer navigator. Katie?
Thanks, Michelle. My name is Katie Binkley, and I'm a staff attorney at Veterans Legal Institute, headquartered inside the Tierney Center. My grandfather was an Army officer during the Korean War, so this work is both personally and professionally fulfilling to me. So at Veterans Legal Institute, we believe in the power of legal care to help combat veteran homelessness and veteran suicide. And we're actually one of the very few nonprofits in the country that exclusively serve low-income, homeless, and elderly veterans, all free of charge. We can assist them with discharge upgrades, veteran benefits, family law disputes, landlord-tenant issues, or bankruptcy and estate planning needs. Jose?
Thanks, Katie. I'm Jose Rojas, and I serve as a program coordinator at the Battle Buddy Bridge, Orange County, and Volunteers of America, Los Angeles. I am a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, having served as a staff sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. B3 is an all-veteran team that helps other veterans in Orange County with peer support, emergency food boxes, transportation and moves, and assist veterans getting document ready for support of the care coordination through the other service providers. Jade, the original hub members spent a significant amount of time to build process procedures to enable Tierney Center to provide services. How did this planning support your efforts to provide holistic services to meet multiple needs that a veteran and their family might be facing?
Sure. Thanks, Jose. So as one of the original Hub partners, we were able to create a workflow within the Tierney Center and the Hub to complete identification of veterans and their family members throughout Orange County. Through this identification, we're able to complete an intake and assessment to provide linkage to in-house services as well as services to a collaborative partner. Utilizing the intake, we link the veteran or family member with peer support, peer navigation, and track all of the needs in our in-house Warrior Serve database. One of the original veterans that we're able to assess throughout this process was a female veteran who came to us homeless, without employment, and in need of even food. So once she contacted 211, we had her come into the Tierney Center where we linked her with Battle Buddy Bridge for peer navigation. Once Battle Buddy Bridge built that rapport and linked her over to the Tierney Center, she was able to work with our employment department where she found stable employment. And we were able to link her to the VA to receive a HUD-VASH voucher. This female veteran is now gainfully employed with permanent housing in Orange County. We still remain in contact with her to this day. Throughout the pandemic, we're able to continue to provide these services in remote mode. Michelle, how have you been able to continue to provide services throughout the COVID pandemic?
We've been still working well together during COVID. Collaboration continues via Zoom, text, email, phone calls, whatever it takes to help veterans get connected to resources they need during this difficult time. When we do move back in, 211 Orange County will be the first agency the veteran and their families will meet upon entering the space of the Tierney Center for Veteran Services. They will have immediate warm welcome and source of warm referrals. This collaboration is essential to building trust between partners. Katie, what impact has the initiative had on this trust building process between partners and among the veterans so that they feel they're taken care of?
Thanks, Michelle. I think our partnership is hugely important both to VLI as an organization as well as the veterans that we serve. So it's very common for us to get a client that comes to us with a legal issue, but that's not the only issue that's impacting their life right now. So we know that when we can connect them within the Tierney Center, that client's really getting that holistic care that they need in order to address the problems in their life comprehensively. Imagine needing help, not being able to afford it, and calling every organization you can find on Google and telling your story over and over again in the hopes that they can help. So when I can connect my veteran with another organization within the Tierney Center, that alleviates the burden on that veteran because they can trust that we are connecting them with someone that we trust as well. When you can come to one building and see multiple organizations to help you with the issues that you're facing, it's kind of like a one-stop shop that's both cost effective and again alleviates that emotional burden of addressing these overwhelming problems that you're trying to deal with. So I'll tell you a story about one of my clients. She is an Air Force mom that came to me for help with her custody case after she had just been left by an abusive ex. So I could help her in the courtroom, but she still had a lot of work to do in order to set up this new life for herself and her son. So I connected her with Roberto at the Tierney Center. And a few days later, when I'm eating lunch at my desk, I see her walk by in a suit and she's already interviewing for positions. So because of all the partners at the Tierney Center, she's now gainfully employed full time. She has a custody agreement and she has an apartment for herself and her young son. So I just can't wait to get back into the Tierney Center and see these referrals happen in person.
Back to you, OCCF.
Thank you, everyone. In this area of collaboration and partnerships, the report made several recommendations, including that OCVI increase the cultural competency of non-veteran specific organizations to develop a system-wide approach to prioritizing authentic relationships when working with veterans and military-connected families. By strengthening these relationships with organizations such as health providers, leadership at local military bases, and non-veteran specific organizations, partners can streamline referrals, share data, and ensure veteran and military-connected family needs are met. Along those lines, OCVI has found that one of the earliest touch points between organizations and veterans is on college campuses. and partners have leaned into early intervention and collaboration with local college campuses to support student veterans. The report confirmed that campus veteran resource centers and academic programs have served as critical safe spaces for student veterans, especially in the last year. OCVI's investment in veteran resource centers at colleges has proven to help veterans meet their educational goals and increase veterans' access to scholarships and emergency funding. Our partners at Cal State Fullerton, Alex Ortega and Sean Moran, help veterans set their goals and achieve their dreams. Now to you, Alex and Sean.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Alexander Ortega, and I am the Educational Access Coordinator at California State University of Fullerton Veterans Resource Center. I am also a United States Army veteran, and currently I'm also in my graduate program pursuing my master's in social work. My department role is to conduct a lot of outreach in the community, whether that's community colleges or military installations, and really just assist transferring students and first-time freshmen get into our institution as seamless as possible, eliminate all barriers, and really get them involved into our Veteran Resource Center. I would like to share a little bit about how I got connected to the Veteran Resource Center. When I separated from the military, my first school was Santa Ana College. And I remember I was nervous, I was excited, I was anxious, I was all these emotions, and I was greeted immediately by the Veteran Resource Center there. They really assisted me, helping me navigate the paperwork process, and really provided me that community that I was seeking so much. So much that it actually motivated me to become a work study. And that's when I transitioned into being a work study with the Battle Buddy Bridge program from Volunteers of America. And that's how my first introduction into the VRC was. And so next I would like to ask Sean, how was your experience transferring from the military and taking advantage of the Resource Center?
Thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Moran. I'm the advising coordinator here at the Veterans Resource Center at Cal State Fullerton. I'm an Air Force veteran, and like Alex, I am actually finishing up my master's program in education with an emphasis in higher education. I did my undergraduate studies here at Cal State Fullerton as well, and I have been serving in the Veterans Resource Center for several years now. I actually serve as an academic advisor, and I process VA education benefits for all military-connected students here at the university. My journey started off very similarly to Alex's. I started off at Orange Coast College as a VA work study, and that was where I first connected to student veterans and realized my passion for serving students in the higher education space. And then I continued that journey into Cal State Fullerton and moved my way into a full-time position serving students, and find myself in the role that I'm currently in, where I am actually able to provide and connect students with various resources on campus, like tutoring services, getting them emergency grants, and other resources of that nature. We also connect them with wellness programs, like our Triton Warrior Wellness Program, and we can connect them with peers to provide them that support throughout their time at Cal State Fullerton. And then from here, I'd like to pass it to Alex. What do you think are other key roles that the VRC plays?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. It's always good to hear your pathway, because it resembles so many of ours. So thank you for sharing today. I think what's really special about our Veteran Resource Center is meeting the student where he or she's at, and then providing that service however they vocalize needed, whether that is through providing them a peer mentor, a peer advisor, or getting them involved with the TWW group, the women's support group, whatever it is identifying it, highlighting it, and then providing that service to them, I think is fundamentally important. So that's one thing that for me personally, as I transition in from the 2-year school to the 4-year school, I found most difficult. So having a peer, having a fellow veteran helping you navigate that, I think is critically important for success, student success. So that's one thing we take a great deal of pride in. I know for your role, Sean, you get to help veterans every day, not only with the advising piece, but I know a lot of them lean on you for guidance and support. What services do you see in your role that are most taken advantage of?
It's a great question, Alex. So I think the key role that I serve is overseeing our team that provides that front desk, that frontline service as students come into the university and get their benefits set up and try to connect with the various needs on campus and just finding their classes, finding their books and things like that. But establishing that baseline, high quality service and that peer connection is where we can come into play, providing those more hard hitting services like emergency financial support, scholarships, and things that are available to us due to partnerships like the ones that we're here talking about today with the Orange County Veterans Initiative. I personally have been able to take advantage of and be supported by that collaborative effort. I was able to receive an internship stipend, which made it so that I could actually pursue an academic internship that was required for my degree, my undergraduate degree in psychology. Well, I had to work to be able to afford childcare and to be able to afford my bills outside of what was covered through my stipend with the GI Bill. And that internship stipend was able to help me offset those hours that I'd be losing for the internship itself. And it made the difference. It made it so I could graduate on time and not have to find another place of employment that would maybe take away from my ability to succeed in my studies. And then outside of my own personal experience, I've worked with countless students as an advisor that have made use of and been so benefited or supported by the initiative. One comes to mind immediately is I had a student veteran who's an Army vet. They were running out of their GI Bill and only had part of their semester covered by their resources. And they were able to get a grant, an emergency financial grant that helped them pay for that semester. And it was the difference of them having to drop out of school to go to employment to avoid being homeless. And it allowed them to have more time to continue their studies and find additional support resources from the state of California and other areas that eventually led to them graduating on time and not having to drop out and not be able to finish their studies due to the lack of benefits. So there's many resources that our students use, and that's just a key example of how students have been supported by the funds that come in and the collaborative efforts. So with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for the support that we've received and for you all listening to our stories today. And from there, I'd like to pass it to Alex for a little bit of a wrap up.
Thank you, Sean. As I sit here and I listen to you tell those stories about working with the students to get them where they want to go, it always fires me up and it makes me so proud to not only be a part of this institution, this resource center, but really our community. And we couldn't serve veterans like we want to without support of the Orange County Veteran Initiative and all of you in the community who continue to provide support for us. One thing we say in our centers, we will never compromise on the quality of care we provide our students. And the reason why we don't compromise on that is because of our support that we have from you all. So not only from our pro staff, but from our whole entire student body, all the veterans, thank you. And from beautiful Fullerton, California, we'll send it back to you, OCCF.
Thanks, Alex and Sean. The report recommends continuing to provide both financial and peer support that really set the stage for student veterans to meet their post-secondary educational goals. It also recommends that partners continue to leverage the established infrastructure at the college campus level and develop stronger employment readiness and points of access for veterans seeking to start their careers. Lastly, the report recommends that OCVI partners continue to inform military-connected family members about the education resources that are available for them and what steps they must take to access support services. Since 2016, OCVI has expanded the use of case management and peer navigation services like these ones to support veterans and military-connected families, including through one-to-one support, group and individual counseling, evidence-based family treatment, collaborative intake and referral procedures, and resource navigation. OCVI cohort members have shared that one of the initiative's greatest successes is its commitment to utilizing peer support services as a primary approach to veteran care and family support. Veterans are more likely to connect and honestly share needs with a peer who has military cultural competency than with someone without that lived experience. Peer navigator specialist Mitzi Huff of the Strong Families, Strong Children Partnership works tirelessly on behalf of veterans and their families to connect them to the services they need. Now let's hear Mitzi and her peers, the Hurt family, talk about their journey together. Take it away, Mitzi.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. I'm Mitzi Huff, and I serve as the lead peer navigator and outreach engagement coordinator. Strong Families, Strong Children is a program that supports veteran and military connected families and children in Orange County. Strong Families, Strong Children mission is to improve the health and well-being of veterans, military families, and their children throughout Orange County by engaging the community, building resiliency, and creating a safer, more stable home environment. Strong Family, Strong Children is a collaborative of 5 Orange County nonprofit agencies. Child Guidance Center is our lead agency, and Families Forward, Human Options, Veteran Legal Institute, and Children and Families Future. Today, I'm joined by Daniel Hurt and his wife, Vicki Hurt. Daniel served 2 deployments in Iraq, and now I have the pleasure of working with Daniel and his family. Daniel, can you share a bit about yourself and your Army service?
I'm Mitzi. I spent 6 years in the Army as an infantryman and deployed twice to Iraq. And my first deployment was 12 months. My second deployment was 15 months. And this is my wife, Vicki.
Hi, I'm Vicki Greenhurt, wife of Daniel. We have 4 kids, 15, 14, 5, and 3 months old. So we have high school through the nursery. And we live in Orange County in Fullerton, California.
Daniel, how did you connect with Strong Family, Strong Children? And did it help to know that I was a daughter of 2 veteran parents that served in the Navy?
So Vicki has actually lost her job, and we couldn't make rent. We couldn't pay any of our bills. And we had sold our car, one of our cars, to just pay rent. And we were really looking for help. So we contacted the American Legion post in Fullerton, and their post commander actually put us in touch with Strong Family, Strong Children. You know, it really did make a difference knowing that you had a connection to the military, because it's very difficult to kind of talk about some of the things that we're dealing with as a family. Talk about navigating the VA and what that feels like, because it can be very daunting. So for me, it made all the difference in the world being able to speak with someone that really understood our situation and kind of the culture of the military and the culture of being a veteran and adjusting.
And I'll say that that one phone call to you made a huge difference in our life. I remember that initial intake session, and you asking us all these questions, and there were questions we'd never been asked before, not just about our immediate financial needs, but our long-term planning and our long-term goals. And your focus really was on, I know you're a military family. I know these are experiences that you guys have or could have. So really, let's dig deeper and figure out what you need. And that was incredible. And you know how to draw that out of us because of your background and experience.
Daniel and Vicki, what was Strong Family, Strong Children able to share with you that gave you hope as you moved through your transition?
I think it was nothing that you really shared in particular, but it more knowing that we would have your support as long as we needed it. Strong Family, Strong Children, and you, Mitzi, you really helped encourage me to go back to the VA and apply for benefits. And so we were able to go to Vets Legal, and they were able to help me resubmit my disability claim. And you know, we were able to go and get additional education benefits and vocational training that I wouldn't have had access to otherwise, because that process feels so overwhelming. You made it so it wasn't insurmountable. And so we could really access those services we really needed.
And for our family, you were able to connect us with the therapy services that our children really needed, which was huge. We actually are a blended family. So you were actually able to work with our other co-parent in helping us really make a stable household across the board for our kids. And Strong Family, Strong Children, because it is the entire family, I was actually asked, it wasn't just focused on the veteran and my kids, I was actually asked how I was doing, which had never happened before with any kind of organization. So the fact that you were able to deal with the entire family and our entire needs and put us in contact with the services that we needed was incredible.
So what's next for you both? And what are you hoping to accomplish going forward?
Next year, I should be finished with a bachelor's degree from Cal Poly Pomona. And then I'll transition to working in the agriculture industry. And then our other long-term goal is we really hope to buy a house. And those are things that, if you asked us 4 years ago, we would have never thought they were possible. And, we're going to achieve those. And we know that strong family, strong children is really in our corner even today.
I can't wait to see everything you both accomplish. It's an honor to work with you, and it's been a pleasure to share our relationship today. Thank you for joining me, and back to you, OCCF.
Thank you, Mitzi and the Hurt family. To continue to serve veterans, the report recommends that OCVI build on this successful strategy of peer support services as the primary approach to veteran and family support, as well as implement tailored outreach, case management, behavioral health, and employment readiness services for veterans and their families. Now, back to Carol.
Thanks, Austin, and thank you to all of our participants. It is amazing when the stories come to life, and we really appreciate you being so honest and telling us what your story was and how the initiative has been able to help you. So thank you so much. So before we move into questions, I wanted to share some key takeaways that we've learned through the evaluation. First of all, it's been really exciting to see other communities across the entire United States look towards Orange County and what we're doing, and looking to identify better ways to support their local veterans and their families. The other thing is that we have just seen incredible resilience in both our veteran community and our service providers in their ability to move forward in the midst of adversity, and especially during the last 11 months with the pandemic. And then also just realizing that, we have more work to do to strengthen the system of support by continuing to build an interconnected system with collective intake, warm referrals, and wraparound services, as well as what Austin mentioned, which is to increase the cultural competency of non-veteran specific service providers so that we can meet the needs of our veterans and their families, and that they find Orange County a warm and welcoming community to live in. It is such a privilege to work on this initiative and to give our veterans and their families the welcome home they deserve, as I mentioned, and we really are making tremendous progress. So if you want to dig into the data in greater depth, you are in luck, because after the meeting today, you're going to get an email with a link to the full report so you can explore the results in finer detail. But now what we'd like to do is open it up to questions. You can utilize the chat feature of Zoom to ask any questions for the OCCF team or for Taylor with Harder and Company. So we're waiting for a few to come in, and it looks like we did have a few questions come in from our host during the presentation. And the first one is inquiring about the landscape for veteran services. And this individual asked, what was the landscape like before the initiative, and how has it changed? And I'm happy to take this one on, because I've been blessed to be part of this initiative since it was a small donor circle started by Bob Greenberg with the question of, what are we doing for veterans here in Orange County? So I can say that the landscape for veteran services before the initiative was really, really disjointed. And you heard a little bit about that from Daniel and Vicki Hurt in terms of how it was difficult to find the services that they needed. The initiative has definitely positively impacted the coordination between the service providers by bringing the cohort of grantees together, and as Taylor mentioned, building common goals and objectives, having facilitated sessions, building strong processes and procedures that they could use to provide coordinated intake, warm referrals, and follow-up, so that the veterans would trust the service providers. But even more than that, and or equal to that, is that enabled service providers to build trust between each other, and allows them to always put the veterans and their families first. So we've seen just a huge difference in the landscape over the last few years. Austin, another question came in about health. Health was one of the key areas that we have provided support for through the initiative, and we didn't highlight it specifically today in the presentation. So could you share a little bit about what we've learned about the impact of these services in regards to behavioral health for the veterans and their families here in the community?
Yeah, sure. I mentioned a little bit earlier, behavioral health stigma and coordination between providers continues to be a challenge for veterans, but behavioral health has improved and through some of our partners has become widely more available. Several of our grantees provide behavioral health services, including our college resource centers, but of course, Strength and Support and Strong Family, Strong Children, who you heard from, both provide services to the veteran and their family that is so critical. I think it's 86% of veterans that were surveyed have said that their overall health has improved as through the support services, and they noted that the services continue to be sensitive to their needs, whether it's due to their gender or the racial and ethnic identities too, which is so important. Kathleen, there's a question in here about employment. If you want to take that one, it was, yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I saw that one. Question about what the report found in terms of employment. Happy to take that one. Thank you. I guess a couple things. First, just recapping what was mentioned in the overview. Thank you, Taylor, for going through some of those evaluation findings. We did have the Orange County Veterans Initiative grantee cohort members provided some significant employment support to more than 1,400 veterans. And I think the data show that nearly 600 were placed in full-time employment. Services included an array of supports, skill building, assessments, training, resume building, and interview training as well. And then connections to job opportunities. And even once someone has been placed in employment, ongoing support to ensure that they are retained in those positions. So lots of great services that were provided specifically around employment. And then one existing program that was launched in partnership with the larger Orange County Veterans and Military Families Collaborative was a specific opportunity called Career Pathways. It was a series of webinars that highlight various career paths that a veteran might be interested in. In this last year, in 2020, there were a host of virtual events that brought together more than 100 veterans to learn from companies like Blizzard Entertainment, Turtle Rock Studios, Helmets and Hard Hats, and a series of construction trade unions. So we were just delighted to see the array of activity and services and supports for such a critical need as ensuring employment and those career-oriented employment opportunities in particular.
Thank you, Kathleen. Yeah, it's exciting. We have such a great workforce here in Orange County and all sorts of different opportunities. So to be able to have veterans be exposed to them is unbelievable. We had a question come in through the chat. I'm going to open it up to Taylor first as somebody that was doing this from an external point of view, and then anybody else on the panel that might want to answer. And that was, what was an unexpected finding that inspires you from the evaluation? Taylor, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the most powerful parts of this evaluation from an evaluator's perspective was the honesty, the vulnerability, and just the stories that we heard during the veteran and military connected family focus groups. We heard, I mean, having done this for many years, these were some of the most profound focus groups that I had ever conducted, and to hear about how impacted these veterans and their families were by the support, and hearing them share how their service providers saw them as a person, and they knew that their service providers had their back and they weren't just being shuttled through a service, but that their providers cared for them, and they're taking this authentic and relational approach to service delivery. It was so appreciated by veterans and their families. And so just to hear that time and time again without being prompted, that was so great to hear. And I'm hopeful that in the report that you'll really be able to see that come through. But I think that was a finding that was not only, it was fantastic to hear, but I also think it was just so telling of the work that the initiative has done. And from many of the videos that we just saw is not an anomaly, but it's felt across many who come to be involved with the initiative.
Thank you, Taylor. Kathleen or Austin, any thoughts on your part? Anything that surprised you or anything that came out that really inspires you as we move forward? You're on mute, Kathleen.
Hey, come on, it wouldn't be an event if you didn't have people on mute.
Absolutely.
Yeah, certainly that came through. Shout out to Mitzi and the Hurt family, because you could really see that connection shine through in the way that they spoke with each other. And I'll just say that the most inspiring piece for me has certainly been just the level of honest and authentic collaboration and coordination between the nonprofit organizations. We know that every single organization can't do this alone. We're all in a community together, and each individual organization has skills and skill sets and people and resources that they bring to the table. And over the last several years, and with the support of Pat and Larry and the real estate industry as well, just the way that we've looked at the broader landscape of Orange County as a community of funders, as a community of service providers, and as a community of veterans and families, and how this is really about the collaboration and coordination among and between all of us to support our veterans.
Thank you, Kathleen. Well, I don't think we have any other questions. And so we're going to give you 7 minutes back to your day. That's pretty exciting. I want to thank you again for being with us today. As I mentioned, you're going to receive an email after this event with a link to the report. And of course, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to anybody on the OCCF team. We can also connect you with Taylor over at Harder. And just once again, I just want to thank our donors and our service providers from the bottom of our hearts. To be able to support our veteran community and their families is just one of the biggest blessings in our lives. And it's just great to know that we have made an impact, and we're going to continue to make an impact and serve our veterans and their families. So thank you very much, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you.